Okay, welcome back. This might be a reality check for you. It's why expats are leaving the Philippines. If you felt the pressure of the Philippines because you moved here on a whim, or you felt like you did all the research that you possibly could, but it wasn't what people said it would be, then I'm going to hit you with the real reality check of what's going on, of why expats are living in the Philippines and why expats are leaving the Philippines. Let's do it. If you lack mental toughness, this is just the beginning. You're going to have to learn how to fight through things and make it work. If you can't make it work, though, why complain? Just leave. Why complain? Why continue to talk like I hear folks talking? Now, all these complaints about not being prepared, it's mostly about money. Now, these preparation mistakes, they could lead to bigger problems. But the one big problem that I hear is people talk constantly about money. And it's all about money. Every day I hear expats complain about rising prices in the Philippines, rising prices of their visa, challenges to get a visa, enforcement of the rules, and they blame the Philippines. But it's not about the Philippines. It's about themselves. It could be about you. Let's talk about mental toughness. The first reality check for you. This is no vacation. There's natural disasters that happen out here. There's a typhoon going on right now. There's storms happening, flooding. This is no joke. Firstly, what I've learned is a lot of people come alone. You're alone here. They come with no mother, father, no siblings, no best friends. They come here and just drop themselves somewhere off in the Philippines. Maybe they found somebody that they fell in love with, met online, that sort of thing. But they're leaving themselves wide open for all sorts of wild things that can happen to them because they don't have a support system. It's important that you develop that. And I hear expats, people talking about how, oh, I don't want to hang around other expats, people where I'm from. And there's some truth to that. I see people come over here and they bring all their problems over here. And they have this attitude and this mentality that doesn't fit here and probably doesn't fit in most places in the world. It's just lousy. So you don't want to be around those people, but you need a support system. You need expats. And of course, you can have Filipinos, Filipinas, people and they may be better people to hang out with than anybody else. The problem is that everything is different. So you're hanging out with them, but their culture is different. They sound different. Yeah, they speak English in some cases, but the English isn't the same. They stare at you. They use their eyebrows to talk. They do all these things that we aren't used to. So when you build that support system, keep in mind that you need people from all different places and sources to make it work. And beyond that, some people can handle this. Some people can handle being here. Some people can handle making it through because they have that mental toughness. But no matter what, you got to be some sort of superhero in your own right to make it here, straight up. You can't be some meek, mild person that thinks everything's just going to work out and be happy. Yeah, you can live in great places that feel like that. The BGCs and the places throughout the Philippines, Davao City, Angeles City, all these different provinces out there that make you feel comfortable. But at some point, you're going to have to be your own superhero. It's inevitable. It comes. It's going to happen. You're going to realize that even to do just simple things like going to the bank. Did you know in most banks, they don't have places where you can easily make deposits. You have to stand in line in most banks to make a deposit, even the largest banks. ATMs don't take deposits. In the States and Western places, we have the comfort of going to an ATM, putting cash in that ATM, and that cash shows up in our bank account. We can deposit a check right into ATMs. We could take pictures of checks with our phone. Many banks in the Phils don't have that stuff. Other people aren't used to the transportation challenges. There's lots of expats, folks out here, foreigners, they aren't used to what you have to do to get through and drive to get to a certain destination at a certain time and plan for that. What you have to do when the road doesn't work or there's flooding and things don't work the way they planned, right? There's transportation challenges. One good thing, positive thing is transportation is cheap. You can travel throughout the Philippines and get wherever you need to go maybe even on $1,000, $2,000, you can travel all throughout. That's the great thing about it. Transportation is inexpensive. But with that inexpensive, cheap transportation comes the problems of not being able to get where you want to on time or how you plan to get there. And then on top of that, when you get there, there's a communication barrier, right? And if you don't get to where you plan to go at the time that you plan to get there, you're going to have to talk to people and work through people that don't realize that, like, you're in a rush. Your rush is not their rush. They'll say nothing at all and just walk away. There's a cultural difference with the communication there. Yeah, they'll be friendly to you, everything else, but you don't want to cross them or make them feel a certain type of way. The next reality check I want to talk about is the failure to prepare. There's a lot of preparation failures that expats, people moving here, run into because they just watch a YouTube video and they think that YouTube video is going to be the end all be all, or maybe even they watch like 10 of them, 15 of them. You really have to know who's talking and who's really been on boots on the ground and what they're really saying behind what they're saying. Some people just come here on a vacation for 2 weeks and they say, oh, this is great. Then they go back to their home, they pack up all their stuff, and then they move here. They move to the Philippines. But have they been here during rainy season? Have they been here when there's typhoons? Have they been here when their place has been flooded or their neighbor's place has been flooded or the streets have been flooded? Because if they haven't, they're in for a rude awakening. The problem is that they never tried to live in a real neighborhood and talk to people that are on their day-to-day and ask them real questions about how do you get from here to here. The issue is that they've never tried to actually live in the neighborhoods where they're going to live before they move there. They never ask the locals simple things like, how do you communicate effectively to get things done when you need to get it done? How do you live during the rainy season? How do you live when the power goes out? What do you do? What do you have? How do you get by? What I want to talk about next is health issues. People come here thinking that they can be smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, drinking every single day, not exercising, overweight, and make it out here just fine and be okay and just complain and then things will work out. You have to take care of yourselves out here. It's not just as simple as, oh, going to the doctor when I feel sick. You have to know where you're going to be at, where the nearest hospital is, have some insurance planning, plan where you're going to get your insurance from, talk to people about the best rates and what's covered and what's not covered. You might need double the insurance than you thought of because of the fact of where you're coming from and the things here that happen that you may not be used to. I advise people to check medical facilities around where they're going to live and see where's the nearest hospital. Is it a 10-minute ride? Is it a 1-hour boat ride? Is it something that you can handle based on your age if something really goes bad? You have to check on all these things. Have multiple plans in place in order to take care of yourselves because that's the worst situation you can be in out here. Yeah, there's the St. Luke's and the hospitals that are equivalent to St. Luke's and out here. But the problem is getting there and then getting service and then being covered. And then hopefully you catch them on a good day. All that stuff you got to have planned and figure out what you can't plan. So you got to make sure that you have all these contingencies. And if you have pre-existing conditions, you know that they can handle them here effectively and you're in the right place so you can get help. That leads me to the fantasy versus reality. Some people need a real reality check. That's why I put together this video, because I hear people complaining about things. But when they moved here, they were enthralled by somebody that made them move here. Maybe it was a woman, maybe it was multiple women, maybe it was a family situation. Who knows what it was? But the thing is, they have some sort of fantasy that they're not prepared for. And I want to make sure that people know the truth and know what they're getting into and that they don't complain. Because for years, I've been hearing over and over again that for $1,000, you can live like a king in the Philippines. Yeah, for $1,000 you can live, but the thing is you won't live like a king. I don't know where that came from, but what you will be able to do is survive. But do you really want to live like that? We work too hard from wherever we came from. I came from the USA. We work way, way too hard. I'm from the USA. I know people that are watching this video from all parts of the world, but many of them are coming from Western civilized societies and civilizations. And what I've learned is that $1,000 here won't get you the Western amenities that you're probably used to. They won't even sometimes get you the Filipino amenities that the Filipinos are used to, depending on where you live at. But the challenge is, for $1,000, you can barely live in most places in the Philippines the way you're accustomed to. Yeah, you can live in a lot of places, but the way you're accustomed to is the key. Do you get everything you want? A lot of guys I see, they'll move straight to the province because they found the love of their life, but they may have found a disaster. And yeah, you should research the costs. You should research what you're going to get into, that sort of thing, but don't research too hard. What you should be doing is working hard before you get over here to make sure that you have more than enough money to cover yourself so you don't have to live on a shoestring budget. Because the truth is, you can make it on most pensions, and you should do your research. You should figure out what the cost of living is. But bigger than that, you should just try to make as much money as possible before you come over here. Because yeah, you can live off your pension, but would you really want to? Just make sure you have a true scope of what you're getting into. You've seen the ritzy parts of the Philippines. You've seen the back street alleys of the Philippines. You've seen the poverty areas of the Philippines. You've seen how the wealthy live in the Philippines. You've seen the wealth gap in the Philippines. Make sure you understand all that before you come here. Let's have a financial reality check. Do you understand the costs of a visa? Do you understand the transportation costs it takes to get that visa and the extra fees that they add on top of what you didn't plan to pay for that visa? Do you understand what it costs to set up housing where you're going to live at? Do you understand all the pieces of the things you have to buy, whether you get a furnished place, unfurnished place? Do you understand housing deposits? Do you understand how all that works? Because it's different over here. Do you understand that you have to get notarized documents and contracts so you don't lose your money in scams? Oh yeah, there's lots of scams out here with housing. Scams are big money out here. Do you understand the amount of budget you need for emergency fund? Do you understand what an emergency fund truly is out here? Do you understand what you need for that emergency fund? There's real monthly budgets out here that you have to consider. The transportation costs, not just the housing costs, but all the incidentals that could happen. The utility costs. Have you ever paid an electric bill out here? Electric bills can be crazy. They could be more than you're used to paying wherever you're coming from. It could be twice as much, 3 times as much. They could rip you off and charge you more than your entire rent or mortgage payment for that month just on air conditioning and running the electric. A lot of guys come out here for dating, and they don't consider the cost of dates a couple times a week, a couple times a month to go to all these places and travel. Have you considered the things that may come up because you're dating? I've seen these social integration issues that men have kill men out here. At some point, they just need to take the last dollars they have to get a plane ticket and head back home because they haven't made it here. They can always stack up their money and try again. And they thought that maybe they came with 300,000 or they came with $1 million. Some guys I know came with 2 million in the bank. But unless you have money coming in, right? That money can go quick, especially if you're spending it on your significant others, females, friends, everything else. I've seen it go quick. I've seen 3 million be blown by somebody. So it happens. And that was just in months. And they think you're coming out here is cheaper or cheap, right? But then they realize that their spending gets out of whack because they never felt like they felt before here. So that's the good and the bad of it. What I've learned is that the Philippines isn't testing your wallet, it's testing your character. And the success that you have is based on if you keep to yourself and you know who yourself is. Because you can spend like crazy and you can still live here just fine. But what I found is that the Philippines tests your character. Can you adapt? Can you make it work? Can you succeed? Can you do this on your own? Can you do this with other people? Can you make it work within yourself where you can be your best self to be able to help others when you can, but more so help yourself so you can help others? Because if you can adapt, you can make it. But if you can't, you might as well just head home. What it comes down to is that the choice is yours. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video.